Unemployment is undoubtedly the single biggest crisis that South Africa faces. The fact that over 70 out of every 100 young people aged between the ages of 18 and 24 and 42 out of every 100 work seekers overall cannot find a job to feed their families and to build a better future is the original sin of the incumbent ANC government. Even on the narrow definition of unemployment, which excludes those people who have given up on ever finding a job, the number of jobless South Africans of working age has increased from 20% in 1994 to nearly 33% today. This unemployment crisis, created by the ANC, is a crime against the people of South Africa. And the DA is here today to tell the people of South Africa that it doesn't have to be this way. South Africa can be rescued from the unemployment crisis that has robbed millions of citizens of a brighter future that we have all dreamed of since 1994. We do not have to accept the joblessness in South Africa because it is not a natural phenomenon. It is not normal. Viewed in the global context, a 33% unemployment rate is not normal. It is fundamentally abnormal. A 70% youth unemployment rate is not normal. It is absolutely abnormal. The fact that 10 million people in our country cannot find work is not the result of a force of nature. That South Africa today has one of the highest unemployment rates in the world is entirely a man-made disaster. It is a disaster designed and executed by the men and women of the ANC. It is because of the deliberate choices made by those men and women in the ANC that 309,000 manufacturing jobs have been destroyed completely over the last 16 years. And it is because of those deliberate choices that have been made that the tax base has shrunk to the point where we now have one of the highest tax burdens in the world, with a tax to GDP ratio, as Dr. George said, of 25.5%. It is because of these deliberate choices of the ANC that we've been plunged into a fiscal crisis where 1 out of every 5 rand is being used to pay down our debt. And it is because of the deliberate choices of the ANC that over 30 million citizens in our country today live in desperate poverty below the poverty line. However, the fact that the lack of jobs in our country is a man-made crisis, the good news is that it means that the South African people have the power to fix this crisis. It is because of the human choices that we sit with this huge unemployment rate today, but that also means that we have the power as citizens to turn that around. I'm very proud today to launch this economic policy today, and I do want to pause here to pay tribute to our head of policy, Matthew Cuthbert, and his incredible team, who have spent enormous hours going through this particular policy, making sure that it is costed, making sure that it is credible, so that when we make our pledges around job creation, it's not a thumbsuck, it's not pie in the sky, it's not promising words on a poster. It's bounded in economic reality, and the economic reality we find ourselves in South Africa. And Matthew, from my side, I want to say a huge thank you to you and your team for the incredible work that's been done on a policy that is absolutely incredible. It's built very simply on a fundamental truth that the wrong choices made by the wrong people have led to the wrong outcomes, and that better choices made by the right people can transform this and solve this crisis. And so our plan to unleash enterprise, to grow the economy, and to create jobs spells out in very clear detail what these better choices are, and confirms that the DA is the right party to be able to create jobs in South Africa and liberate the people of the country from 30 years of failed policies that have pushed 12 million South Africans into the unemployment queue, and which force many of our citizens, far, far too many, to live under the yoke of economic disaster. So this is a historic moment not only for our party, but I also think for South Africa. This detailed policy has been developed in consultation with some of the best economic thinkers in the world, and it's built on global examples of best practice. It presents, I believe, the most compelling and exciting economic offer that South Africans have seen in a generation. It introduces a fundamentally clean break from the destructive statist policies that have created the unemployment crisis, but it also sets down South Africa on a path towards growth, lots of growth, based on modern, pragmatic, and fit-for-purpose strategies. At the DA's National Manifesto launch in February, I announced that the first and most important pledge that we were making as a party to the people of South Africa in this election is to deliver 2 million new jobs and to lay the foundation for a new, rapidly growing, modern and vibrant economy. And the policy that we launched today shows why this is a credible undertaking, why it is achievable, and why it is an urgent pledge that any government that the DA will be part of after the election will deliver of. It's all built on getting the right people into government so that those people can make the better choices that South Africans desperately need. It sets out how we're going to improve the ease of doing business, which alone will unlock between 250,000 and 400,000 new jobs. Through making better fiscal choices, we will generate another 250,000 to 500,000 new jobs. Reforming labor policies through better choices, including our introduction of the Youth Employment Opportunity Certificate, will unleash hundreds of thousands more jobs for young people in South Africa. One of the most heartbreaking things for me as a political leader is to travel around the country and see young graduates who've done the work at TVETs and universities, standing at traffic lights, clutching their certificates, begging for jobs. It cannot be right that young graduates with these skills cannot find work in our economy. Coupled with making better choices on collective bargaining to expand representation and exempt small, medium, and micro enterprises from agreements they cannot afford, we believe will ignite the creation of a further 500,000 to 1 million new jobs. Add to this the better choices that we will make on industrial policy that will generate between 250,000 and 500,000 new jobs, as well as better choices on trade policy, which will add another 100,000 to 150,000 jobs. Unlike those other parties that are thumb-sucking jobs, promising jobs in every home, etc., we know exactly that today is the inflection point for our party, because we know that when we make a commitment to South Africans that we can build 2 million new jobs, we can back that up with evidence-based economics that's sound and in which we've accepted best practice from all over the world. It is also an inflection point for our party because it signifies that we've fully ascended to a party that's not confining itself to forever being in opposition, but to the level that is required to actually govern a country. It is a serious policy, and a policy that shows South Africans that we are serious about governing. After decades of growth through governing dozens of municipalities and major provinces of learning and internal reform, the DA steps up today far more confident, more prepared, and more determined than we have ever been before to rescue the whole of South Africa from unemployment. The adoption of this policy announces to the world that the DA has fully embraced the responsibility that we feel to the people of South Africa to create a credible alternative government that will solve the most urgent crises that plague our society. And there can be no more urgent crisis than the unemployment crisis, which we tackle head on from today with this policy. It is also a signal that the DA is mature, that it knows that the ANC is set to lose its majority in a little over a month's time, and one that is fully prepared to be able to step in and take over government as an anchor tenant in any new government. We launched this policy today because the DA's time has come. We are prepared for what awaits us and what will be demanded of us in the coming months. But more importantly, this policy is an inflection point for our country, South Africa. Meticulously researched, it's built on only the cold, hard facts of what works to grow business and employment all around the world. With the election now little more than a month away, the DA's historic new economic policy provides voters with a detailed roadmap about just how we will rescue the country from unemployment. And every single voter who wants a brighter future for themselves and for their children, who wants to find a job in a growing economy, and who wants to put food on the table and build a better future for the children that they themselves have had, that we will see in this plan the most riveting and hopeful opportunity in 30 years. In this election, a vote for the DA is a vote for a strong, experienced party with a track record of delivery that will carry this economic policy into any coalition negotiations and the formation of a new national government to deliver 2 million jobs over the next 5 years, and to lay the foundation for a future where every single South African can find work to build a better life. As in life, politics is about choices. And with the launch of this policy today, the DA announces that we have made the courageous choice to step up like we have never done before to address the single most urgent crisis facing our nation and our citizens. We now also call upon our citizens and the people of South Africa to equally act with boldness in making a new choice, striking out in a new direction by voting the DA into national government on the 29th of May. For 30 years, we've elected the wrong people who have made the wrong choices, and our citizens are now bearing the brunt of it. On the 29th of May, let's elect the right people who will make the right choices to restore the hope and dignity of every South African that only a secure job can provide. I have so much confidence and faith in this policy, and I hope that those who watched the News 24 debate amongst the leaders yesterday evening will see how important it is that we have an honest conversation and an honest debate around the future of our economy and how we create jobs. And I'm issuing a challenge today because I'm so confident in my policy to the President Cyril Ramaphosa to stop hiding away. Let's have an honest, open and frank debate about the future of South Africa and the choices that lie before the people today. I will bring my policies and I will happily debate them with you toe to toe and let the South African people decide who they trust to create jobs, to steer the economy, to rescue our country, and to provide a better future for all of us in this country that we love. Thank you very much.